Hello again, and welcome back to Writing with Witches, the podcast where you get to write books and possibly short stories. We probably should make an episode about that. Anyway,
Yep.
with witches, and we will give witchy tips in the middle of it. My name is Leona Urbanski. I'm an author with my debut novel coming out hopefully in early 2026. And I've been a witch for, God, 4 or 5 years now, so that's kind of crazy. My co host is.
I am Nicole Autumn. I have three books currently published in the Secret Society series. Oh my gosh, my light almost fell. Sorry. My life flashed before my
Start
eyes.
off with a bang.
And I have been practicing for 10 years witchcraft. So, yeah.
We need to do like a 10-year anniversary party for you.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm I like I've said before, I'm a lazy witch. I only do it when the mood strikes.
And the mood strikes. That's fair.
Yeah.
Um, so today's episode is going to be all about giving and taking critique specifically as an author. I'm sure some of the things that we're saying could probably be used in other areas of your life, but what we're specifically talking about is authors, writers, especially when you are actually writing the book and you're working with beta readers and ARC readers and editors and that kind of thing. So, but before we get into that, do you have any book news tonight?
I do not. Um, I do have some art news though. Um,
Oh.
so Alex has sent me like basically things have been done. Like the background is done. She's now fully working on like getting the facial features done on Amy, and it looks so good and I can't wait to show everybody because it looks, oh my god, it looks so good. So I'm like, yes. So that is the only news that I have that is book related, but more so artwork. But yeah, I'm super excited about that.
I mean, totally fair. I think what for like four straight episodes, all of my book news was about Alex. So,
Yeah.
I get it.
And I've been kind of holding back on mine because like the updates that I've been getting are just like little tiny ones because I was her last client. So she was working on mine technically last out of this cycle of clients. And I'm like, just waiting patiently. I'm just going to wait patiently. And then she's like, oh, boom, here you go. This is what I've worked on. And I'm like, oh my God. And then she sends me another, she's like, oh, no real big update, but your whole background's done now. And I'm like, what? So, yeah. And she said, hopefully, the features of Amy will be put on her face, basically, this weekend. So, I'm looking forward to that email.
I want to see it when
I
you get
know.
it.
Oh, of course. I'm literally going to send it to you as soon as I see it. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have any book news?
I don't really have any book news. I am looking at some potential scheduling things that will hopefully help me stay on schedule for the book. So we'll see if that works out. And I am probably, Alex just messaged me today, and we're gonna try and do a Zoom call and do a deep dive on the merch for the Kickstarter. So I'm excited
Ooh.
to see what ideas she has for that because she has a lot more ideas than I do, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah. She is the creative genius.
Yes, she is. And it's also wonderful that I can just send her random K-pop Demon Hunter memes at the same time, and she loves them too.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I send you a meme, I send her a meme. I send you a meme, I send her a meme.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, book news. I unfortunately haven't had a chance to work on it for the past few days. But I have been working on the short story that will be getting released at the end of the month, and these two are so flippin' cute
They
while
are.
still being really fucking awesome too. Like together, it's just like, oh, I love you, and I'm so gentle, and I will have vengeance as soon as they
Uh,
turn around.
yes. As soon as I read that, like immediately my head went to Batman, but I was like, no, that's a little too cliche. So, but yeah, it's like, do you want your vengeance? I was like, I am vengeance. My brain immediately went Batman, which it has nothing to do with your story at all, but that was like the first thought.
I mean, he does have like instead of like the light blue ocean, he's like dark
The dark.
ocean.
Oh,
He's the
like
dark
the deep ocean.
tones. Yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, I know these two are riveting for me, and I really have a feeling they're going to do the same thing to me that Nick St. Ambrose did, and I don't know if I'm excited or upset about it.
That is such a writer thing. You're like, I don't know to be excited because now I have more characters to write about in a new story, or really fucking irritated because now that's another project taking me away from another project that I'm supposed to be working on.
Right. I am definitely planting a lot of seeds for full-length novels. I was actually talking to another friend of mine, and she had been reading Nick St. Ambrose for me before the Shadow Princess story. And I was telling her I started on this story. She's like, you are going to have so many... She's like, in 20 years, you're going to have so many books published. Like, I hope so.
That is the goal.
Yeah. Anyway.
That is the goal.
So yeah, no, just more working on the short story and trying to, find time to really dive. I would love to be able to do more than a chapter a day,
Yeah.
That would be the ideal. Unfortunately, life circumstances have just not allowed that to happen. So,
Yeah.
but I'm getting there. I have unpacked more books. My shelves are getting fuller.
Yes.
The boxes are growing less. I am still accumulating a pile of unread books that are going upstairs.
The road with more.
I may have just received another 3 books today. Just saying.
Just another 3. What's 3?
It's just 3 little books. They're little books. It's fine.
They're just little ones.
So, but now I have to say, I got one on the candle magic.
Okay.
Because I was inspired after our last episode. I got one, it's called Tusk Love, and anyone that is a Critical Role fan from the second campaign is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It's literally a smut book that happens that they read during the second campaign, and someone actually brought it to life.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love it.
that's funny.
And I got the Pumpkin Spice Cafe little cozy romance book that I've been seeing around. So.
Oh my god, I have been seeing that book everywhere, and I have wanted to grab it too, and I'm like, no. I still have like 3 or 4 books sitting on my shelf that I need to read first. But I keep seeing it.
I did not have that inhibition.
Oh, I'm so tempted to get it because I keep seeing it everywhere. Every place there's books,
Okay.
I see it. Oh.
How about after Eye of the World, we take a break from Wheel of Time and do a buddy read on Pumpkin Spice?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Agreed.
Because
anyway,
I know
so
I'm
that
going to
is on
have
my
to
book
read
list.
something between Eye of the World and the next one. Because the world building is... It's a lot.
Epic.
It is literally... Yeah. That's a good word for it. It is epic.
It is an epic home. It is rivaling the Odyssey at this point, and I am not even like a third of the way through the book.
I know. No, I think we have hit a third so far.
Have we? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, because I've been tracking it through Goodreads. Like, I'm like, what percentage am I at? So I think we have hit officially like the 30% mark of this book. You might be a
Nice.
little bit further because I think you're a chapter ahead of me. So, but yeah, we're about 30%. So.
All right. Well, I will quit yapping.
Yeah, we could
because
probably
I went
get
off
on
on
to
a
topic.
tangent there. Yes, let's do that. Great. So we're going to start with giving critique because as an author, especially an indie author, you're going to be doing a lot of trades.
Yeah.
So you are going to be handing your beta readers your book to read, and then you are going to be taking their book to read. So if you wanted to get started on that, I will shut up.
So when you are beta reading for someone, whether it's beta, alpha reading, or just in general of, I think even when you go to give a review to another author, right? It's probably not in good form to completely trash it. Unless the book is just absolutely awful, because I have read those. And even then, I was very strategic in the points that I made. I did not attack the author. Rule number one, when giving critiques, do not attack authors in the way they write. That is number one, because you will immediately get their guards up and instantly combative, right? Because we're not attacking each other, we're looking at work.
Yes.
And with pointing out negatives, you should be pointing out things that you do like. I would think it's very rare to read something that you just absolutely hated every second of it. That being said, I have read one of those books where I have read something that I questioned every choice that was ever made when writing this book. And eventually I had to tell the author, I'm like, look, I am not your target audience. I cannot finish reading this. It's not for me. And that is probably the politest thing you can do instead of trashing it. But if you are giving critiques and you make it through and you like the book, be sure to let them know what you do like. And say like, hey, I really liked this point in the plot where character did XYZ, or this dialogue, or something along with giving your critiques of the things you didn't like or you think could be better with that. Was there anything you wanted to add off of that one?
Yeah, yeah, definitely the politest thing you do is be like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't finish this, because please do that rather than just trashing or just ghosting them either, because that is very frustrating. I've had it happen a couple of times before I really understood who I should be offering the book to read, and I put a lot of time and effort into getting them the book. So they're like, oh, I want to read it, and they never do. So yes, making sure that there are, and I think I mentioned this in another episode too, is another reason to give them the positives is maybe they are trying something new. Maybe they are trying a new way to write a scene or a new sentence structure or something like that. And if they don't specifically ask you to watch out for that stuff, which some might not, but it may be something that they're trying new. And if you can give that positive feedback to it, if you catch on to it and you like it, then that will help them in the future with their writing. Because critique is to help us become better writers. Yeah. It's not just to trash someone else's work. It's not to be a bitch about it. It's to help other people become better writers. So making sure you're not just running a red pen all the way through their novel and giving some positives as well as the negatives. And that's just something to always be consistent on. Even today, even with Nicole, who I have read so many of her things. She knows I love her work. She knows I love her writing. I will still go, hey, this was a great line. Yeah. Or, hey, I really like the choice they made in this scene, Mm-hmm. So it's just something to get yourself in the habit of noticing those positive things instead of just letting them be something you expected and slide by, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think also along with that point is even asking them like, hey, what kind of feedback are you looking for? Because like you said, they may be trying something different in a scene or a new sentence structure. So by asking them like, hey, are you wanting feedback on like sentence structures or what, like just getting specifics? Because some may ask you, hey, can you look at this specific scene? Tell me what you think, because they are trying something different. So it never hurts to ask them like, hey, what kind of feedback are you looking for? Because some may just want, overall like, hey, how's my pacing in this? And that could be like the only feedback they want. And you're like, okay, so then I'm going to read the book and just check pacing. Granted, I wouldn't think someone would ask a beta reader just on pacing, but you never know what an author is going to ask for, in terms of feedback. But the next point is when you are giving critiques, it's also a good idea to explain why you think something is wrong or could be done differently. So just saying this is wrong, you're like, okay, but why is it wrong? Or what about it felt wrong to you? So, like, I read someone's novel where their character was in an argument with another character, and I'm like, something about this feels off. I'm not sure what, but it could be this key fact that it just doesn't make sense. So just pointing out little things like that and just giving a reason of why you think something is off or weird or written strangely, or maybe they use so 6 times in 2 sentences. I've done that. I'm going back through mine and doing revisions, and I'm like, holy shit, the amount of time I say so and is ridiculous. So maybe you're letting them know, like, hey, this word is repetitive, and I just said so again. I say so a lot too, I guess. Yeah. Letting people know what is wrong and explaining why is a good indicator of like, okay, well, now I know what's wrong. Now I know where I can fix it. Because just telling them it's wrong or whatever is going to kind of leave them a little bit hanging on what to fix.
Yeah, and included in that, also keep in mind as you're giving critique, that maybe it feels off to you. Maybe it's supposed to feel off. Maybe there's some kind of secret that's not being revealed. So understand if you tell them this feels like this, they may come back with, oh, that's perfect. That's what I was going for, to
Yeah.
kind of raise suspicions about something. So not every suggestion that you give is going to be taken. Also keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
Um, because maybe they're like, oh, I see why it feels wrong, but something else down the line explains why it felt wrong. And that is the goal I was aiming for. So just because it feels wrong to you as a reader, again, maybe that's the point. So just keep that in mind that they don't have to take your suggestions, but like Nicole said, telling them why you feel that way. Is the sentences too short and that's messing with the tone and emotion of the scene? Are you saying so 6 times in a row? Is the are the words spelled in a strange way that uh, your spell check didn't catch? Just that kind of thing, and highlighting it and um, giving them a reason for it instead of just be like, I didn't like it.
Yeah. Like, okay, that's so broad. Why not?
Yeah. So,
um yeah, so and then with that, you can also offer a suggestion on how to fix it. So like I tend to do this with more so sentence structure. Like if a sentence is just written really weirdly, like you can tell when they were writing it, their brain was just getting the words and they were just typing it as it went. And you're like, this could have been phrased better. And that's literally what I'll write. Like when I'm reading something, I'm like, this is phrased weird. What if you wrote it this way or even this way? Like giving them options so they can see what I'm seeing and how it's formed awkward or it reads awkwardly. So offering suggestions can also help point them in the right direction of, okay, well, this was weird, but I know it's weird, but I wasn't entirely sure how to fix it, or just that kind of situation where you're offering them help and giving them potential fixes is also just really helpful and time saving as another author.
yeah. And especially the more you work with one author, the more you are able to kind of ghostwrite in their voice and understand why this solution might appeal to them more than another solution. And again, that's only after you've worked with someone for a while and you know their voice. So when you're just starting out, giving them like, hey, I think this would be a better potential word choice, or I think you need to explain this scene a little better, and I think that would help clarify the situation. Or we need to see more emotion on the character's face. You're doing too much tell and not enough show, kind of thing. So to
Yeah.
help them, it's a kind of a twofold thing. You're telling them why you don't like it or think it's wrong, and then offering them what you think would make it a better fix.
Yeah.
So now, keep in mind, some authors don't want that.
Oh yeah.
So don't be offended if they're like, nah, and they're gonna go off and do their thing, which is fine. It's their work. So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind. Don't get your panties in a twist about it because they didn't take your exact suggestion on
Yeah.
what you think should have been done to the scene.
Because at the end of the day, it's under their name, not yours. So
Exactly. Yeah.
there's that, you know? So if you're like, well, okay, that's your choice. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're not the one writing the book.
exactly. But overall, when giving critique, I think it's just common courtesy, you know, give what you do like as well as the critiques and just I wouldn't say don't be honest. Like obviously be honest about what you think, but I would also do it in a way that you know isn't going to come off as bitchy. I mean, me and Leona, we go back and forth and we can be very blunt. We're like, this is weird. I don't like the way this is written. Like the way there were times where she was just like, this is so awkward. I remember in Unbound, and you would just leave that. You're like, this is awkward. This needs to be fixed. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It is. It is. So, like, for us, we can be a little bit more blunt and we're not taking it offensively. Like, we know where it's coming, like, the place it's coming from. So, but if you've never worked with someone, you know, maybe don't be super blunt. They may not like that. Or ask them, like, hey, are you okay with me giving you like 100% honest feedback? Some people may say yes and end up not being okay with it because they might not like your feedback, but
I know one experience I had as a beta reader, and she gave me good feedback on mine, and I was trying to do the same for her. And she had a problem with continuity, especially in like eye and hair color
mhm.
of the characters. And I brought it up a couple of times, and she's like, "Yeah, I just have a real problem keeping track of that." So me being me, I'm like, it really bugs me
Yeah.
with that kind of thing. So I literally was keeping a little Excel spreadsheet, and the first mention that was brought up of their hair and eye color, I logged it in my little spreadsheet. And then every time it was wrong in her book, I put a little tag.
Yeah.
And I did say to her, I'm like, look, I know there's a lot of comments on this. It's not me being trying to be negative. It's just you were having problems with continuity. I was trying to help you out with that, and these are the places where it's not the same.
Yeah. She did not
He
like
still
that.
talks to me, sort of.
Kinda, sorta. See, and for
I don't
me,
think I'm her favorite person in the world.
like if that was me, I'd be like, "Oh my god, you just saved me so much time. Thank you very much." So,
Yeah.
again, an example of two very different people apparently because me, I would have been like, "Oh my god, you just saved me so much time from going through and double checking that. Thank you." Like, but some people didn't like that. So,
No, no. She is still talking to me. She invited me to her authors group. That said, we certainly didn't form the kind of relationship that you and I formed. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I don't think she's asking you to beta read anymore, is she?
Oh, probably not. No, I think that was a little much. And I probably know better and I shouldn't have done it, but it bugged me so much because I do have that weird memory for those little specific nitpicky things, especially when I'm
Yeah.
reading it. And like once or twice, but it was like
Flip
and it
flopping.
wasn't even like hazel brown. It was like blue and green
What?
and going back and forth. And like she had blonde hair in one chapter and black hair in another chapter.
Oh my god. It is like flip opposite. Holy shmoly.
Oh, because
Yeah.
that wasn't even like using Cinnamon's like mousy brown to dirty blonde. That's kind
Yeah.
of
They could be
depending on
technically.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
But
drive me nuts
like
too.
blonde to black hair, I was like, when did she dye her hair? I
Right?
didn't
It's
say it
like,
like
where did the
that. I
box
was
dye
just
come
like,
from?
previously you said she was blonde.
Yeah, no, that would absolutely drive me bananas. Because, like, once you tell me what they look like, they're formed in my head. Like, I see them. And
Yeah.
if you change it, I'm like, who the hell's that? That's not right. That would have drove me nuts. Bless you, because holy moly, I wouldn't have been able to get through that one.
It that was a hard one to get through for other reasons. It was a good book. I hope she continues forward and publishes it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
If she
Um,
does, I'll do a review on it.
hopefully she'll have fixed that issue. Um, fingers crossed. But that would bring us to our witchy tip. And this time around, we wanted to talk about herbs. We both tend to fall in the kitchen witch category, and using herbs is something we both do fairly regularly, I would think. Um, Excuse me, the Dr. Pepper finally decided to make its reappearance. um, so I know when I do herbs, I don't remember half of the meanings for them, and I am still Googling stuff, and I really need to work on my Book of Shadows to get all that stuff and information written down, but I have not. So I typically turn to this guy right here and, good old Google to figure it out.
She's holding up the Cunningham Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs for those who are not watching.
Yes, I am so sorry. I keep forgetting that we do have just audio only listeners. My mistake. So I will use that to look up herbs if I need them, especially if they are more not as common herbs that I may have to order, which we will talk about sourcing herbs too. But just some common ones, there's basil, bay, oregano. I use lavender a lot. Cause
Cinnamon, cloves.
yeah, all your kitchen spices, pepper,
Yeah.
cardamom, coriander is another one
Chamomile.
you can use. Yeah. So anything that's in your kitchen, congratulations. You now have a witchy pantry too.
Probably has magical properties.
Yes. So there's also like cleansing herbs and protection herbs. Those are probably the ones most people use most frequently and will learn first. So obviously, if you're indigenous, you have your white sage that you can use. If you're not, you can use just regular kitchen sage. So if you grow your own sage, like plain old sage in your backyard, you can still use that. Just don't use the white sage. It's closed practice. So, and it's also an endangered plant species now. So let's not. But also there are things like cedar you can use, which is great for protection. And I use that a lot when I am smoke cleansing my house. I like to use cedar because it also smells really good when it's burned. As well as rosemary. You can have lavender in there. So those are all great for like cleansing and protecting especially like if you're doing smoke cleansing in your house and stuff. So, is there any other ones that you can think of off the top of your head?
I'm just kind of thinking on the cleansing, if you can't do smoke cleansing, I know using essential oils in water in a spray bottle is
Yeah.
also a good alternative if you can't handle the smoke cleansing for some reason, but you're still using the same herbs, you're just using the essential oils of the herbs. Or you can just dump the herbs into the water. It works the same way too. Let them
Yeah.
soak.
Yep. Exactly. Just let them sit in there, shake them up, and then squirt it everywhere around your house, you know?
Yeah.
I've even like mint. I know a lot of people like to clean with mint. One, it does smell good, but it also offers like protection as well as like I think it's like happiness and prosperity. I could be wrong.
Hmm.
I'm really pulling off the top here. Um, I could look it up, possibly.
Well, and I use just regular straight up salt as well. Like I
Yeah,
I did a salt mixture around the entrances of the house last winter e- winter solstice. So
yeah.
salt is magical too, guys. If you watch
Yes,
Supernatural, you know.
salt is your best friend. Yeah, I'll even tell you guys a little story. I actually made black salt, which is supposed to be even more so protective based off of the herbs that you burn into your salt to make it black. And I had a bad feeling. This not at this house. It was when we lived in North Carolina. We ended up having I kept having this really bad feeling and I was getting super paranoid and I couldn't tell you why. And I was just like, "What the heck?" And I was like double checking locks and doors and something was telling me I needed to do black salt around the house, which is never happens. Salt, yes, black salt rarely ever. And I was like, something is off. I can feel it. I don't like it. So I did black salt around the house. I asked Hecate for protection and all that good stuff. The next morning, I woke up and there was a black dog sitting in my driveway. Never had seen this black dog before in my life. Ends up moving right across the street. I find out their house was broken into that night and their dog got out because they broke the back fence. And it turns out that multiple houses on our street had gotten broken into. Ours was one of the
Oh
few that
wow.
did not. And I was like, I knew it. It was the black salt that saved us. I was like, they knew. They felt something was off about our house for a reason and they left us alone. So, yeah, black salt is basically where you take your protective herbs, you burn them, you put the ash in the salt, and then you salt around your house. So that is really good for protection. And depending on whatever spell you use with it, if you choose to use a spell, just kind of amplifies that. So yeah, keep your house safe from burglars.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Jeez. And I
Yeah.
love that you had the black dog sitting in the driveway just watching you. That's
And
crazy.
you know the crazy thing is I never thought about that. I was just like, oh my god, there's like a dog sitting in my front yard. That's weird. I ended up going to a medium like a couple years later, and she's like, "Did you ever see a dog following you, or like in your like, did you ever come across a black dog?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And she's like, "Yeah, that was one of your spirit guides letting you know that they were there." And I was like, "I did ask Hecate for protection, and one of her symbols is black dogs." I was like, "This is too weird. How did she know that? Like, what?" So yeah, I was like, "Okay, this shit's for real then." Because you
Yeah,
always
no
have
kidding, man.
those,
Jeez.
you definitely still have those skeptical moments where you're like, did I do that? Or was that like just a coincidence? Like, and at that point, I was like, nope, I did that. That was me. I did that.
That was all me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
at that point, it would be what sourcing your herbs, right? Um, if you decide that you're not going to get your herbs from a grocery store, which most of us likely do, which we can't necessarily check the ethical harvestings of those because most of them are probably in a greenhouse somewhere from these companies. But you can order them, especially your harder to find things that are not kitchen herbs. Double check where you're getting them from. Don't use places like Alibaba or some drop ship. Don't do that because you have no idea where it's coming from. Probably not somewhere good. So check places that you can see where they get their herbs from and or if they're harvesting themselves, are they cultivating themselves, and just making sure that they're not over harvesting like things like white sage.
Mm-hmm.
I like to use when I was purchasing herbs, I used what was it? Rose Mountain Herbs online, I think it was. I'll have to double check. I think that's what they were called. But they actually supply a lot of herbalists that do like medicinal medicine. So like herbal like holistic medicine. Because I did try taking a class, but did not get through it because life with children is hard, especially then. I had like two toddlers essentially. So that was fun.
Yeah, fun.
Trying to learn
Yeah, I
that.
know how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, Mountain Rose Herbs. I was close. That's the one that I do. And they actually do their stuff in bulk. So you can get anywhere from an ounce to like a pound, depending on how often you're using your herbs. So, and they actually have fairly good prices and they're very ethical in the way they harvest stuff. So that's my
Yeah.
spiel.
Yeah, honestly, if I don't get my herbs from the grocery store, I grow them myself. So, because
Yeah.
I like being able to know where it's coming from, know how it was tended to. Granted, I don't always harvest them at the best times of day because I straight up don't have time to do that. So I
Yeah.
harvest them when I can, and dry them myself, or I use them fresh, or and honestly, I do the same thing for rose petals. I love that I have rose bushes again at this house because I can harvest my own rose petals again. So,
Yeah.
if you have the time and the energy and the inclination, then I really suggest just growing some common herbs yourself. They're most of them are relatively simple to take on. If you have a wide enough windowsill in your kitchen, you can just plop a little planter down there and you have, unless the cats decide to go for it,
Yeah.
which has happened recently.
Or, if you do have space outside, even just putting that sucker in a pot, like a good pot like this, and you'll be surprised how big those suckers can get. Like,
Yeah, like lemon balm is
especially,
ridiculous.
oh my God. Yes, I had so much lemon balm. It was ridiculous when I grew it. Same with oregano. Those and parsley. Those three
Yeah.
shot off like crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, this could be considered a weed. How fast these suckers grow and how big they get. Like, oh my God. So, yeah, if you can't purchase herbs and especially towards the end of spring, where a lot of the herbs are being sold in Home Depot or Lowe's, or if you can get your hands on seeds. But towards the end of spring, a lot of those plants are starting to look pretty sad. Um, if you can and you have a real green thumb, that's the best time to get them because half the time they'll give them to you for like half off, 75% off. And you
Yeah.
can just revive those suckers. And next thing you know, you got a beautiful plant for like 50 cents. So,
Yeah.
depending on where you get them and how much it's marked down. So, if you have a green thumb, yeah, grow it yourself.
I would also always suggest with that if you have a farmer's market in your town is a good place to get them, or I will always say to shop local small businesses first. I know the town that I used to live in, we had two small hardware stores, and they would have
Yeah.
the gardens. And so I always went to them before I went to Home Depot or
Yeah.
Walmart because that's just the way I am. But that's
Yeah.
another whole soapbox I'm not going to jump onto right now.
Yeah. See, and where I live, when I did live in Missouri, the town was so small, we didn't have anywhere else but a Lowe's and a Walmart. Like that was it.
Oh, geez.
There
Yeah,
was no,
that's
like, we
great.
didn't have a farmer's market. I mean, we did, but it was so small. So, like, trying to find plants there was hard.
I believe you. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, just keeping in mind also if the only place you can get your herbs is from the grocery store, then that's fine too. I mean, no one is going to come after you for not being able to watch every step and every process of the herbs that you're getting.
Yeah.
So, if you have the time and ability to grow it and dry it yourself, I suggest doing it at least once just to have the experience so that you know if you want to do it in the future. Maybe you hate it.
That is
Maybe
that.
you
There
never
is
want to
that
do it
too.
again. But,
Yeah.
at least now you know. So,
Yep.
again, we're never gonna come down on you for not being able to buy herbs online from someone who you know is an ethical producer. We just ask that you don't go to Temu.
Don't do that. You never know what
Please
you're going to
don't.
be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. We're like, yeah, at the same time. Um,
Just go to Walmart. It's fine. You're all right.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you are getting them on clearance, they're losing money. So
Yeah.
better for
There
your
you go.
wallet, sucks for them. They're losing money. Down with the corporations.
Yeah. The Walmart empire.
Oh, yeah. Um, so jumping back into our topic of the day. So we talked about giving critiques, but now the tables have turned. Now you have to take the critiques. Um, at the end of the day, you asked someone to give their honest feedback, right? Um, so getting negative responses, don't let it get to you personally. If they're not attacking, like, obviously, if they're attacking you, I feel like all bets are off at that point. Like, slow your roll there, you know? But if they are strictly talking about the work that you produced, negative comments, you got to learn to take them in stride. You know, it is just their opinion. And again, we said it with giving critiques. You don't have to take theirs either. You know, if someone gave you just straight negativity the whole way through, you don't have to take it, right? Or maybe they weren't the reader you were looking for. There is that. Yeah. If you get negative critiques, just kind of take a step back from it if you do find yourself getting upset about it. Um, just take time to process, because I know some of us have that knee jerk reaction to just like, well, excuse me, this is what this is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Trying to defend your work, which is fair, but, keeping it civil is probably your best route.
Yeah, and like you said, unless they're like just have something against you and are straight up attacking you, they're giving you this feedback to help you make it better. So keeping that in mind, and I'm not saying that they need to be rude about it, but knowing that they're giving you these suggestions and these critiques to help your work be better at the end of the day, that is the goal. Is everyone of that opinion? No, there's some people that like to bash stories just to bash them, unfortunately.
There
I'm
are hate
sure you'll run
readers.
across those people. Yeah. Um, but again, like Nicole said, just because they tell you this doesn't mean you have to take their opinion and change anything about your story. at the end of the day, like we said, it's your story. So,
Yeah. And then, with that, there may be some people that try to change or suggesting so many changes that it changes from your voice, right? It can take your story to a different, I guess, just transforming it into something that you're like, this isn't what I would write. This is not what I would put out towards readers or for my story. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. But like Leona said, that she could suggest things to me that she knows would sound like my characters or my writing. So she knows me enough to know, oh, hey, I can make the suggestion and this is going to fit because this is her writing style. So you may get someone that gives you critiques that, I don't write with prose. Someone may look at mine and start saying, oh, well, this would be beautiful if you did this flowery prose describing a tree. And I'm like, but that's not how I write. And that it could be beautiful, but that is changing my voice and what I write on a day-to-day basis and what you would see in my books. So sometimes their suggestions may be changing too much and pulling it away from what you're actually your writing style and your voice as an author.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, because keeping it in your voice is important because I actually have a little bit of a story about that. It wasn't a novel, but I wrote an English paper for a conference, and I asked, this was when I was an undergrad in college the first time, and I asked a professor to proof it for me.
Okay.
Just look over it, give some suggestions, and like a week later he comes back, he totally rewrote the paper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not my paper anymore. That's your paper.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one example of he's just straight up says, "Oh, I know how to make it better," and didn't give any regard for my voice and how I was presenting that subject. So keeping in mind that keeping it in your voice, in your story, should be your priority in my mind. And this applies not just to beta and ARC readers, this also applies to editors, especially like Nicole said, if you haven't worked with somebody before. Um, yes, you are probably paying an editor for their opinion, but again, you don't have to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important to keep your voice because, like, in that suggestion, he just straight up hijacked your entire paper.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I threw it away. I'm like, never mind.
You're like, well, this is now hitting the garbage. Thanks for no help at all. Um,
Yeah.
and you may run into people that give that type of feedback where they essentially just rewrite it for you. And you're like, no, thank you. Thank you, but no, thank you. So when getting critique, I also feel like it's important to know that to keep in mind that they are trying to help, right? At the end of the day, you did ask for it, and trying not to get defensive because I've seen it. Oh, I've seen the fallout
Oh,
of
I've seen it.
beta readers or ARC readers coming back to authors and giving their feedback, and they have meltdowns, like full blown meltdowns over it. Don't be that person. Take that step back, like we said. Think about what they said. Again, you don't have to take it. There are hate readers that, yeah. So just take those step backs if you need to, and take everything with a grain of salt, I would also say.
Making it black salt if you have to.
Yeah. Sometimes you need it, you know? Yeah. And I just think being open, because I know I've gotten feedback from people, and most of the time, I haven't had anyone straight up come out and say, like, oh my gosh, this stinks, or been outwardly rude when reading for me. And almost every suggestion I've gotten, I'm like, damn, they're pretty right. Um, so most suggestions I do end up taking in some shape or form, even if it is someone saying, like, oh, it would be nice if they gave a little background on this, for example. It could be a freaking sentence that gives you that background. You know what I mean? So just because someone suggests something doesn't mean you have to change your whole freaking story. If someone, you know, gives little bits of critique, it's okay to change it or fix it. And yeah, I don't know where I was
Yeah.
going off on that tangent.
I'm not entirely sure either, but I will say I know I've been on the receiving end of not me having a meltdown, but somebody didn't like the way I beta read their story
Mm,
and sent me stuff, and I literally sent it to Nicole and a couple of other people, and I'm like, "Am I just being defensive here?" And they're like, "No, no, you're not."
no, I think I know exactly what situation you're talking about.
Yeah.
And because I was also beta reading for that person, and I think that they just did not like you for whatever reason, because
Currently.
I literally took the feedback that you gave them and basically said the same thing. And they're like, "Oh, thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that." And I'm like, "What?"
I didn't know that.
um,
That's funny.
yeah. So I mean, I did word it a little differently, but not by much. Not much. And I was just pointed out pretty much the same things you did because I caught them too. And they were like, "Oh yeah, thanks for that. Like I'll keep that in mind." Or but that person, I will say, does tend to get pretty defensive if you critique them because they have done that to me where they've gotten defensive on something.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah.
we've been on both sides of being yelled at and wanting to yell back.
Oh yeah. So we have. Um but yeah, that brings us to book reviews, which I was trying to finish my audiobook and did not get a chance to today. So do you have a book review?
Too. I went a little out of my normal range this time around, and pardon me. I know I've mentioned this author before, Annalee Huber. Normally, she writes historical murder mystery, specifically the Lady Darby series and the Verity Kent series. But she wrote a book called Sisters of Fortune, um, and it is a novel about the Titanic.
Love a good
And
Titanic.
I know we're such a sucker for it.
I know.
Um, but she is one of those authors that I know does really in-depth history research.
Mm-hmm.
And so these Sisters of Fortune that she's writing about were real people on the Titanic.
Ooh.
And she is, and there are some facts known about them, but they kept very much to themselves after the tragedy. So their story isn't very clear.
Mm-hmm.
So she actually kind of expanded on that, and she did as much as she could on the research before putting in the creative liberties with this.
Yeah.
So this follows the Fortune family from Winnipeg, Canada, and it's mainly about the three daughters of that are on the ship with their parents. And each one of them has something going on. The youngest daughter wants to become a suffragette, and they don't know that about her yet. The um, One of the daughters has a weird encounter in Egypt before the Titanic leave, before she goes to the Titanic, and it's literally about the ship sinking. And
Oh,
that was an
geez.
actual story from the Fortune family that actually did happen.
That's nuts.
I know. So it's a really fun book. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into it because I mean, it's the Titanic. You know what happens in the end. I'm not
Oh,
going to tell
yeah.
you who lives and who dies. Um, but yeah, Annalie Huber does a really good job about historical research. She will even give you like the documentations that she went to so that you can look it up yourself if you want. Um, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a really good read, and I liked this book enough that I got one of the special subscription boxes with this book featured in it.
Hmm.
And like they sent like three gifts with it that you opened at certain pages when you're reading the book. And like I got a White Star Line blanket, and I got like a little Phantom of the Opera metal tea tin with it. So anyway,
Oh, that's cool.
it was really cool. Um, if you like the Titanic stories, I really suggest reading this one. It's a new take. It's characters that I think she said no one else has done a historical fiction on these particular people before. So it's a fairly new aspect of the Titanic. And like I said, she did as much historical research and documentation as she could possibly do with what was available.
Hmm.
And following their story. And she even at the very end, I really like how she, because they're one of the few families that didn't like give a statement
Hmm.
immediately after the Titanic, not the Titanic, after they got back. I can't even remember the name of the ship that brought them home.
The Britannica?
Um, is it the Britannica? Okay.
I think so.
Uh, and she actually had an explanation. She created the explanation why they kept their stories to themselves and why they didn't make that statement immediately and all that kind of it's a really well constructed book. If you've read any of her Lady Darby or Verity Kent series books, you know how well she writes. She is a fabulous author. I am on her street team. That tells you something about how much I like this author.
Yeah.
I will always promote the Lady Darby books for people that like murder mysteries. um, so yeah, this was a fresh take on the Titanic story with actual historical figures and their story. So, Sisters of Fortune by Anna Lee Huber. Highly suggest it.
I just want to amend my statement. It was not the Britannica, it was the Carpathia.
Carpathia? Okay.
The RMS Carpathia. I was like, wait a minute. Well, no. The Britannica, I think, was its sister ship that was a smaller version of the Titanic. I think. But I wanted to double
It's been
check
a
that.
while.
It's been a while. I haven't looked in the into the, Titanic lore in a while.
I will admit I did read this a few weeks ago. So that's why it's not totally fresh in my head, to be fair. But it's still a really good book, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough that I actually have a second copy of it in my library, which should tell you something. I tend to not have more than one copy of a book.
Yeah.
So
I think I only have
anyway,
one double copy. And I think that was because I forgot that I purchased it.
that's fair. And when I find that out, I tend to either return the book or I take it to half price books. I think the only other one that I deliberately have more than one copy of is the Green Rider series, and that is because I wanted a full set in hardback and a full set in paperback to go with the art books. So
Yeah.
there was a special reason for that.
I think I got both of mine at like thrift stores, so I couldn't really return them. So I was like,
That's fair.
well, I got two copies. It's whatever. I only spent
Yeah,
like 50 cents on them, so it's not like I was like spent some hard-earned cash on it.
that's fair.
So, but yeah,
Alrighty.
that brings us to the end of this episode. You can find us at writingwithwitches.com. You can email us at writingwithwitches@gmail.com, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Blue Sky as Writing with Witches, as well as our Discord channel. We do have one, and we are on Discord fairly often. So if you guys were to ever hop in there, you got direct access to chit chat with us. So
Woohoo.
There's that. I also have a Discord group, as well as Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and a Facebook page. I don't really do groups on Facebook. And I have my website, and you can email me at author.nicole.autumn@gmail.com. All of them are, my author name that you can find me on. As well as my Buy Me a Coffee and stuff like that, where I do post my short stories. So, website, short stories on Buy Me a Coffee, and our normal website for the podcast. So, on to you.
So first and foremost, I will say it again, subscribe to my Substack, because by now you will have received the final cover design, and you don't want to miss it, I promise. I'm not even saying that for myself. I'm saying this because it's Alex's work, and it's so amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, please go subscribe to that. I am mainly going to be found on Instagram and Facebook, and honestly, that's kind of all the energy I got for right now. I'm not gonna lie. I am in the hellscape of grad school right now, which is consuming a lot of time. So
Yeah. I
that is
have
life.
not even posted on social media, basically, except for the podcast recently.
Yeah, same.
It's too tired
I
for
think
that.
I posted when I did the last Substack email, and that's it. So anyway,
Yeah.
go find us. Come
Yes.
chat with us on Discord. You'll
All-
find us more than happy to communicate.
Yes, and we'll spam you with memes and shit. So
If you watch K-pop Demon Hunters and love it, you will love us.
yes. Pretty much, yeah. So, next episode we will be talking about steps of indie publishing, which that is probably going to be a long episode. It may be a 2-part episode depending on what our outline looks like. Because that's an in detail step process.
Yep. And Nicole's gonna be leading most of that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still working out my own processes here.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. So yeah, thank you all for coming by and listening and or watching us. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.